I'm your host Akash Beri, and in the studio we have with us Dr. Zakir Naik. Dr. Zakir Naik has been given the exclusion order by the Home Secretary of the UK government to prevent him from entering UK. Dr. Zakir Naik, the eminent speaker from Mumbai, India, is respected world over for his enlightening and convincing efforts of promoting similarities between major faiths based on converging values for a common platform of peace that exists between the religious scriptures, including the Bible, Vedas, Torah and the Glorious Qur'an. As a student of comparative religion, Dr. Zakir Naik has worked tirelessly for the common good amongst people of all faiths, engaging in constructive debate and dialogue. These discussions have been hugely successful and have resulted in much progress towards a better understanding of Islam, as well as enhanced harmony between people of different beliefs, dispelling fears and misunderstandings. Dr. Zakir Naik is undoubtedly an opponent of terrorism and as such has often spoken out against all acts of violence and violent extremism. He has emphatically condemned the killing of civilians and is one of the world's regular noted orators on this topic. We have with us in the studio Dr. Zakir Naik, and we would like to know from him what are his views regarding the exclusion order. Welcome, sir.
It's my pleasure to be with you.
Sir, you were supposed to visit UK for a lecture tour. So can you give us in detail, tell us in detail about this lecture tour, and also was it your first visit to UK as a part of the lecture tour?
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain, amma ba'd. I've been traveling to UK for the past 15 years, and I've been to UK more than 10 times, and I've given lectures in several cities of UK. I've given several lectures in London, in Birmingham, in Bradford, in Manchester, in Glasgow, in Cardiff, and many other cities of UK. So this was not supposed to be my first lecture tour to UK. And this particular trip, it was supposed to have 3 lectures of mine. The first one was supposed to be held in Sheffield Arena in Sheffield on the 25th of June. That's on Friday evening. The second was supposed to be held in the prestigious Wembley Arena in London on the 26th of June, that's a Saturday. And the last was supposed to be held in the National Exhibition Centre, that is the LG Arena in Birmingham, on the 27th of June, that's Sunday evening. So these 3 lectures are supposed to be held. And the topic of my first lecture in Sheffield Arena was supposed to be Understanding Islam and Peace. And the second lecture in Wembley Arena, the topic was Universal Brotherhood. And the third lecture in Birmingham NEC, it was supposed to be Freedom of Expression and Islamic Perspective.
So, could you also tell us what is the background of this exclusion order which has been served to you by the British government?
It actually initially started, there was an article that came more than 2 weeks back on 30th of May 2010 in a newspaper by the name of Sunday Times. And the title of that article was Muslim Preacher of Hate Let into Britain. And the same article quoted many of my speeches out of context. They misquoted me and tried to prove that I am a person who promotes terrorism. And later on, immediately the next day, the same article was reproduced and rehashed by 4 or 5 different newspapers of UK, including Daily Star, Daily Express, Sheffield Telegraph, and some other newspaper. And because of this, this was one of the reasons that put pressure on this new conservative government to prevent me from entering. An article said that how has this new government permitted me to enter UK to give a series of lectures, and they tried to portray that I'm a person who promotes terrorism and violence.
Okay. So when were you officially informed about this exclusion order?
The first time that I was officially told about this exclusion order from the Home Secretary was 2 days back on the 17th of June. And this order was passed on 16th of June. And I received a phone call early in the morning, day for yesterday, that is the 17th of June, from the British High Commission, telling me that I got a letter from the Home Secretary of UK, and she has excluded your entry into UK.
And so, what do you think are the possible reasons for this exclusion order being given to you, which prevents you from entering UK?
I feel that because today Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world. It is the fastest growing religion in the Western countries, including UK. I feel this may be one of the major reasons that the new UK government does not want Islam to spread in UK. And they know very well that amongst all the Muslim speakers, the speaker that gets the maximum audience throughout the world, wherever he travels, it is Dr. Zakir Naik. So I feel that I was made a scapegoat. And because there was a pressure on this new government, I think it was a political decision. It was not a legal decision. They know very well, the Home Office knows very well that I'm a person who normally is against terrorism. I'm a person who speaks against violence. I think it was a pressure on the new government because they used to always oppose the previous government that why do they allow Muslim speakers to come in. So now because of this article that came in the newspaper and there was political pressure, they were forced. And what they did, that they quoted me out of context and they killed two birds with one stone. First, they prevented the true message of Islam to spread in UK and they don't want Islam to spread. And secondly, because of misquoting me, they try to prove that I'm a person who promotes terrorism so that they can prove to the world that this government is against terrorism. So I think it was a political decision.
So according to the few press releases, the UK Home Secretary has prevented you from entering UK because of the following statements like every Muslim should be a terrorist and the statement supporting Osama bin Laden, and also Western women make themselves more susceptible to rape by wearing revealing clothes. So what are your comments on them?
As far as the three statements you have mentioned, only two were mentioned out of the four that they gave reasons in the letter which excluded me. The first one is absolutely out of context. As far as the second statement is concerned of me supporting Osama bin Laden, it is again out of context and it is manipulated. And the third statement wasn't mentioned in the letter which they told me.
Okay. So according to you, which are the statements which actually the UK Home Secretary found objectionable? And could you also clarify each one of them?
Well, I feel that what she has given in the media is different than the letter what was presented to me. What was presented to media is just one statement. And the official exclusion order which I received from the Home Secretary by hand delivery, I read it to you, it's verbatim. The Home Secretary has considered whether, in light of this approach, you should be excluded from the UK. After careful consideration, on 16th June 2010, she personally directed that you should be excluded from the UK on the grounds that your presence here would not be conducive to the public good. The Home Secretary notes that you have made the following statements amongst others. And she has pointed out 4 statements from my lectures which she finds as objectionable. And inshallah I'll give reply to each one of them. The first statement that she found objectionable, it's in quote, as far as terrorist is concerned, this is my quotation what she has given, as far as terrorist is concerned, I tell the Muslims that every Muslim should be a terrorist. What is the meaning of the word terrorist? Terrorist by definition means a person who terrorizes. When a robber sees a policeman, he's terrified. So for a robber, the policeman is a terrorist. So in this context, every Muslim should be a terrorist to the robber. Every Muslim should be a terrorist to each and every antisocial element. I'm aware that terrorist more commonly is used for a person who terrorizes an innocent person. In this context, no Muslim should even terrorize a single innocent human being. The Muslim should selectively terrorize the antisocial elements. And many times, 2 different labels are given to the same activity of the same individual. Before any person gives any label to any individual, for any of his actions, we have to first analyze for what reason is he doing that. Now, reading in context, I don't have to give any clarification that I'm not promoting terrorism. I'm saying very clearly that no Muslim should ever kill any innocent human being. What she does, she picks up a statement of mine out of context and says, Dr. Zakir Naik says, every Muslim should be a terrorist. It's absolutely out of context. Okay. Because I give in the context and she knows the context. But to the press, she is only mentioning one of my statements. But in my letter, she gives the context. The reason I feel is that if she gives the full context in the press, it would be obvious that I'm not promoting terrorism. But she knows that I'm going to challenge this exclusion order in the High Court of UK. That's the reason in my letter, she has mentioned the full thing, so she can say that she's not quoting out of context. So if she really was truthful, she should have given the full paragraph what she has written in my letter to the press. Because the paragraph clearly states that terrorist means a person who terrorizes. And in